Today I'll be discussing delusional disorder, and I'm going to go over the history, prevalence, symptoms, treatments, and controversies of the disorder. Delusional disorder was previously called paranoid disorders, and the treatments included magic or religious cures. And given time, researchers began adopting a more clinical view of the disorder and of disorders in general, actually. And then approaches such as the psychodynamic approach were created. Later, more approaches were created to address mental illness but produced little success in patients with delusional disorder. And then finally, in 1994, delusional disorder was given its own separate category in the DSM-4. Previously, it had been clumped into a group of disorders that were similar, such as schizophrenia, which shares a lot of common traits with delusional disorder. So it really hadn't been studied very much. This is an example of a religious cure, and since mental illness was seen as a demonic possession, um, trephining was believed to provide a hole for the demons to leave through, thereby curing the patient of their mental illness. So that's and then this is, of course, a famous couch used by Sigmund Freud during his therapy, psychoanalysis, which is part of the psychodynamic approach. Only 0.03% of general adult population are diagnosed with delusional disorder, and 1 to 2% of psychiatric patients are diagnosed with delusional disorder. It's even less common than schizophrenia. And as you can see here, the dark blue is a general adult population, with the little tiny white section being the population that is diagnosed with the delusional disorder. Symptoms: delusions persisting for longer than 1 month. Delusions are not accompanied by other psychotic symptoms such as hallucination, disorganized speech or movement, or flat affect. If we saw somebody displaying these symptoms, we would say that they are most likely schizophrenic. And apart from actions that revolve around the delusion, functioning is not affected. Um, this is pretty key because if you're wanting to differentiate between schizophrenia and delusional disorder, um, somebody with schizophrenia is not aware of time and space, whereas somebody with delusional disorder is aware of time and space, and so they're able to function fairly highly. There are different types of delusional disorders: erotomanic, grandiose, jealous, persecutory, somatic, and mixed. Since there are different types of delusional disorder, delusions will vary according to which type the patient is affected by. Erotomanic. These people believe that someone, usually famous or important, is in love with them, and the person having these delusions may try to contact or will stalk the person they believe is in love with them. Grandiose. Having overly high opinions of themselves, and they usually think that they have some spectacular talent or made an important discovery. The jealous type has strong feelings that their spouse or significant other is cheating on them. Persecutory believe that they or a loved one are being mistreated, spied on, or plotted against, and these people will often contact the authorities because of their delusions. Somatic, they believe that they or a loved one have a medical deficiency or physical deficit, so you'll find these people in hospitals often trying to seek treatments. And mixed, these people have delusions from more than one category. So as far as treatments go, there's always therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy, which works to change thought patterns and behaviors. That's probably the most popular one used. And individualized psychotherapy, which helps the patient to recognize and change incorrect thinking. So, of course, the first step in getting help is for the patient to recognize that they're having delusions, and then, of course, to replace those delusions with reality. And then there are medications. Antipsychotics such as thorazine, loxapine, proloxin, Haldol, and others are all antipsychotics that work to block dopamine receptors in the brain. And dopamine is believed to cause delusions. So, Schizophrenia and delusional disorder are extremely similar, and the nature of delusions can make it extremely complicated to sort through which patients have delusional disorder and which ones have schizophrenia. So, because the two disorders were clumped into one group for such a long time, um, delusional disorder itself hasn't really been studied very much. So there's not a whole lot of information about it. Health professionals have a very hard time clearly defining delusional disorder because of this. Um, so that can make it pretty complicated for health professionals to draw a line between somebody who has delusional disorder and somebody who has schizophrenia. And then, of course, there are other types of illnesses that are also somewhat similar, but these two are extremely similar and hard to differentiate between. And here's a list of my references. Thank you.